Hey guys, and welcome to my workshop. Today we are going to be restoring this gorgeous old little satchel. This satchel was made in 1966, so it really is pretty ancient, and it was made by a man called Burnishing. As you can see, I've already started the process of restoring this. I've cleaned it up, I've oiled it, and I've even started stitching some of the corners back in. But before I can move forwards, there's one piece that really needs my attention, and it is indeed the closing strap, which would originally have held it closed. So yeah, luckily what's cool about this design is that it comes with this extra strap on the back here, which, to be honest, for us is completely useless. It would have been to be attached to your belt somehow with braces or whatnot, just to make sure it doesn't move around. But in my case, it is completely redundant. So this is going to be my sacrificial piece from which I will make a new one of these. That way we can actually have a replacement part which is made from the same leather. Let's get cracking. First, let's open this up. These satchels are made by the Swiss Army, and one thing that they got right every single time was using aluminium hardware, so it doesn't really rust. The same can be seen here, for example, where this is actually an aluminium post. And that is really, really cool, but it also makes it practically impossible to replace because I don't know where to source this kind of hardware. I just simply don't, and it's been riveted down very nicely, and yeah, it's just a gorgeous piece of hardware. We can keep the buckle for another time. Right now, this is what you want to focus on. There we go. This is going to become our new closing strap. Now first, let's trace out our new piece. This only has to be a rough trace because we are going to be cutting the top part, which is actually going to be hidden underneath the flap. So it goes underneath like that. Let's give this a quick bevel. Make it more comfortable on the inside to the touch if you're going to be using this. And yeah, more or less ready to go already. So using this awl, I just want to make sure that my holes are nice and opened up, just enough so I can actually see what I'm doing here. I don't want to push them open too much, and as you can see, just doing that will push up the leather already enough so that you can see the discoloration from the oils and things happening there. So I really do want to be careful about this, not overdo it. But this will help me see what I'm doing for the next stage. And there you go. Now the next stage is a bit more critical because I have to hold this in place while I do this as best I can. And hopefully not get it too screwed up. Is that straight? Does that look straight to you? Looks straight to me. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so now the trick is to just mark the leather underneath. I'm not going through, I'm just marking the leather for my stitching holes. And I'm following the slant given to the holes by the initial saddler, so Mr. Burnishing, who made this satchel. Okay, let's see if that marked, and yes, perfect. Actually, quite pleased with that. Now we can go ahead and make the holes. I'm using a piece of scrap leather on the back because I want to be able to push the awl right through and leave a nice big indentation, big hole for me to work with. That will make it easier for me at the later steps. Yeah, not bad. Quite happy with that. I'm tracing out the contour of where I want my tip, but I think I might have to redo this because I don't know if I'm getting the contour I want here. I don't know if I'm perfectly straight. Let's have a look. Hey, actually, that's not too bad. Now, as I cut, I'm going to try and round it out just ever so slightly. There we go. There we go. Not too shabby. Back with the trusty edge beveler. This is actually quite a wide edge beveler. I think it's a 0.3mm edge, something like that. Oh no, 3mm? I don't know. It's a wide one. And it matches more or less the original bevel that was used on this. So it looks quite similar. And this is very nice leather to work with. It's quite thick. It's got a really good dense set of fibres in it. I'm not sure how you'd say that, but yeah, okay, so that's not tremendous, but that'll do. Let's burnish this. Now, for my burnishing, I love to use token oil. It's a great little product. It works amazingly well, and I find it gives me the best burnish. And I've tried gum trag, I've tried other solutions, just don't work the same way. So yeah, try it out. I like to keep my old t-shirts around because these make some really good pieces of scrap cloth to work with. If possible, use 100% cotton, as the plastics in some of these fibres really don't work well for burnishing. But hey, do what you can and try not to waste. And there you have it. All burnished up. Neat. Let's punch a hole. Actually guys, I've changed my mind. Before we go ahead and punch any holes, I'm going to stitch it up. It will give me a better view of the actual look of the product and should also help me get a better understanding of the final result I'm trying to achieve here. So for this, I'm going to be using Maisie linen thread. It's the M60, the 0.6mm thread. So it's nice and chunky, but not too much. Now, bear in mind that the original thread would have been an 0.8 to 1mm thread, so much thicker. And this actually gives it a really nice subtle look. So here it's been doubled up on itself for extra strength, but it gives a nice contrast, really nice clean look to it. It's not too thick, but really resistant. And it's also, because it's linen, the closest to the original. Now, always go ahead and use a little thing like this. This is beeswax, and beeswax is a miracle product if you ask me. I use beeswax on the thread because it does so many good things. First of all, when you unspool the thread, unwind the thread, it will want to go in all sorts of twisty, turly little things. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's hard to work with. By using beeswax, you're giving it more rigidity. You're pulling it out. You're making it nice and straight, nice and easy to work with. Secondly, beeswax will protect it against moisture, it will protect it against friction, so basically protect it against wear and tear, which means that in theory at least your thread is going to last much longer. Thirdly, once your thread is in there nice and tight, the beeswax will also help seal up the whole thing. So first of all, it will help seal up those holes that you've left from the stitching irons or the pricking irons or the awl, but it also help lock in the thread to a certain degree, of course, so the thread won't be slipping around as much yeah, just go ahead and coat it with beeswax. I've had this tiny little thing for ages now, and go ahead and grab 100 grams or what of beeswax, 50 grams, and you'll be set for quite a few years to go. So beeswax, it's a wonderful product. So you see guys, this is what it looked like before, so all twisty-turvy, and this is what it looks like once you apply the beeswax, so much easier to work with. There we go, once you're done, I like to go ahead and seal in my stitches using some more of your favourite, or my favourite, beeswax. This isn't at all necessary and it doesn't look amazing, but it gives me the advantage of knowing that this is going nowhere, and with time the excess beeswax will more or less just rub it off, leaving the bare minimum or what's needed inside the thread, so that it won't budge, it just won't budge. So it works as well as glue in a sense, but much less permanent than glue. Yeah. There you have it, guys. All back on. Now, why change your mind once when you can change your mind twice? I'm actually going to go ahead and stitch the whole thing up before I punch the holes. This way I can get a really accurate measurement on where to punch the hole and pretty much just punch it where I need it to be instead of trying to guess now and then regret it later. So yeah, let's go this way first. I'll stitch the whole thing up and show you the final result. And there you have it, the final result, and it's looking really good. Now yes, you can definitely see there was something here, but I feel like that was definitely a better use for the front, because it just looks it's original. It's the original piece, and you can tell it's the original leather, and I'm very pleased with the way it turned out. So it's a bit of a battle-scarred piece. You can definitely tell it's had some wear and tear. But overall, I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. So now what I'm going to do is punch the hole here, cut the relief cut, and we're good to go. I'll show you the result. And there you have it. The final piece is all set. And you can see I've added 2 D-rings here on the back. And this is so that you can attach it with a strap, basically. So, yeah. It's interesting. You can definitely tell that this is some kind of pull-up leather or heavily waxed and oiled leather because of all the discoloration that you get when you handle the strap. And in fact, when you handle any other piece of that leather, it really does discolor quite amazingly. I'll show you this. And what's really cool about pull-up leather is that once it has discolored, it will just come back to its natural color. Just rub it in, apply friction, applies heat, redistributes the oils inside here, the waxes inside there, and yeah. Really pleased with this one, actually. I will strap on a strap, I will give it a final coat of Saphir Renovateur, and let's have a look. There you go, simple strap from Amazon, but I feel like this combination of like materials and colours really works well with this. Let me give you a closer look. As you can see, the Saphir Renovateur has really given it a nice shine. It's looking quite nice, and I have to say, these stitches, the original stitches, I simply can't get over how gorgeous they were. The guy who made this clearly knew what he was doing. It is made to a really rigorous standard, and yeah, hopefully the next owner of this will enjoy it and take care of it for quite some time. Shouldn't be too hard from time to time to give it a bit of wax and you're good to go. And here you can clearly see the 2 D-rings that I've added in action. So thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned something, and I hope this is giving you ideas for maybe a future project, future restoration project. Anyhow, if you enjoyed this one, you're going to love watching this video where I make basically 2 more. Enjoy.